Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. I just got out of a hearing with the United States Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Fagan, and the bulk of my questioning, all of my questioning, was as it relates to the Brightline train. We had a couple different rounds of questioning, and in the end, the Commandant of the Coast Guard was basically unwilling to commit to anything, to answer very common sense questions, and we had a meeting afterwards as well. It was a very tense meeting between the two of us, and I just want to go over a couple of things that was said because this is very important for the community and our access to the waterway because of where Brightline Trains is going to close off access to our St. Lucie waterway in Stuart, which is access for Stuart and a lot of the rest of Martin County and the city of Port St. Lucie and Jensen Beach and Palm City and so many communities. That is the access to the Atlantic Ocean for all of these folks. So here's what the conversation was. I asked the Commandant a couple of times, listen, tell me if you would consider this very unreasonable thing unreasonable, not equitable. If the community got closed off 14 out of 15 hours, would you consider that not equitable, unreasonable? Wouldn't answer. Went down every avenue of this, would not get an answer from her. What if they closed us off 13 out of 15 hours and we only got 2 hours of access? Would that be unreasonable? Wouldn't answer that. Wouldn't answer if other things would be considered, inequitable. And the reason that term equitable is so important is because it's a term that they used in some of their paperwork previously, what was known as a waterway access management study, something they did a couple of years ago that they now threw out the window because they didn't like the answers to it, because the answers to their study were that we needed to get at least 50% of the time of use on the waterway, and the train only get 50% of the time. Now you say only, that's a lot of time considering it's our local waterway, but they threw that out. And when they threw it out, they said, hey, we're gonna throw this out because we want to do another study, a more recent study, because that study was done a couple of years ago. So we're going to do our own independent study closer to this time frame. Guess what? They threw that out now too. They don't want to do their own independent study. Here's where they're going to get the information from now. They're going to ask Brightline and Florida East Coast Rail, hey, you guys give us the information on the boater usage in the community, and we'll take the information from you. The wolf in the hen house, as most people would call that. That is absolutely unreasonable. Let me talk about something else that was discussed afterwards as well. Here's a new term for everybody: dynamic scheduling. So the Admiral talked about dynamic scheduling after this hearing ended. She said, well, what we're looking at is maybe not setting up that you can rely on the same window of time every hour. Maybe you're going to have to be open to this 15-minute window of time in this hour, and then on Saturday maybe you get this kind of time frame, and then at this time of day you'll get this different window of time. They're looking to acquiesce to everything that the Brightline trains wants. There are 32 trains a day and the 15 Florida East Coast trains a day, closing off our waterway to the community that it belongs to. And that's what's going on today with the United States Coast Guard that I was dealing with, the Commandant of the Coast Guard here in Washington, D.C., and what the Miami sector is pushing them to do as well. It's absolute BS. It's absolute garbage. And I found it laughable that the Commandant committed to an equitable process for an individual that was unwilling to acknowledge things that were the opposite of equitable. Would not acknowledge that, but she's committed to an equitable process. Again, it was total BS. I was not happy at all with her answers or with the conversation that we had thereafter. I will keep you all updated as this goes forward, but I can tell you this is one last thing. The biggest difference that has been made in dealing with the Coast Guard has been what you all, the community, has been doing to help with dealing with the Coast Guard. When you all came out last summer and showed the Coast Guard in mass, in boats, what this waterway meant to our community, that mattered, right? The Coast Guard, she was talking about, well, we're gonna look and see how many boats are coming in the next couple weeks. And I had to tell her, hey, you guys realize you have the waterway closed off for the next 21 days, totally closed to everybody. How are you going to look at what's going on with the waterway right now if it's totally closed off, right? These are things that to them, they weren't even looking at, not even considering, because they're not truly doing an equitable process. And that's painful to say about what's going on with the U.S. Coast Guard in that way. But we need your help in this. As always, you all make all the difference. You mariners, you people in the community, our law enforcement that's getting cut off by this waterway, getting cut off, sea tow, the barges, the sailboats, the sport fish, the center consoles, the recreational users, everybody going through there. You all voicing your concern to the Coast Guard, this makes the biggest difference in the world. So I can't thank you all enough for the support in dealing with them on this. Because without you, it would not be able to happen at all. And that, I wish you all the best. I'll catch you all later.